Hi guys, and welcome to this week's Love for Humanity free events. As you know, we have these events every week. We go live on the Love for Humanity Facebook, so you can jump in there and make comments or join in the conversation. If you would like to join for free on the Love for Humanity page, you can do that and you'll receive recordings of these calls. And these calls are here to help you to navigate life and to be able to deal with whatever comes your way, so that then you are treating others with love, respect, gratitude. You're treating life that way. And then again, we create a momentum, we create this beautiful, if we can call it reality of love that we can share with everyone. So that's the essence of Love for Humanity, is just to do our own work. We don't need to focus on what everyone else is doing. We just need to focus on what is going on within us. You know, the saying, go within. Focus on ourselves and focus on how we react to things, how we are dealing with things, knowing who we are. And then when we do that, we will behave differently, and we will all behave differently as people on a planet. So I'm just going to jump in to the live call on Facebook and just make sure that everyone can hear us and that we are all ready to go. So this week's call is all about how to process and eliminate negative feelings in 1 minute. And the way that we can do that is through a process that or that we have called, I'll say we because it's basically a collaborative experience for everyone here on the planet. We are all working together, and this process was shown to me a very long time ago, where I conducted a lot of case studies and used this process with a lot of different people, and I have continued for many years now. But it was aptly called the 1 minute miracle by the people who did the case study with me, and it was super cool. So I'm going to share with you this 1 minute miracle, and this is something that you can use every single day with every single feeling, emotion, anything. I mean, if you think about it, anything that you may struggle with in life will usually be a struggle through. Oh, I'll just turn this down. So I'm just going to jump in. We've got Kristen live on Facebook. Hello. We've got Peggy here in the call. So the reason why we have issues usually in life, if you think about it, is because we don't feel good. And so we usually know that there's something wrong because we don't feel good. And so our feelings are incredibly important. And I think they've been given a bit of a bad rap in the past, because when we feel bad, we can tend to let those feelings either kind of take over, and we tend to spiral and not have so much control over them. We don't have much control over those, and that's always been something that's been a little bit of an interest to me, because in the work that I do, I literally look at things that people are struggling with, and receive from the work that I do with the universe exactly what we need to do with them. And I remember I started doing this work simply with the awareness of listening. I was listening to Eckhart Tolle and the work he does in A New Earth. And a lot of, if you really want to read a really good book around our next steps for humanity, read A New Earth. It's an amazing book. But listening to him and Oprah talk on her podcast, he was explaining, the differences between thoughts and feelings. And it was really interesting. And I will cover thoughts next week in our call if you wanted to learn how to deal with negative thoughts in 1 minute. But with the awarenesses, so the thing is that when you have a negative feeling come up, and this is, what Eckhart Tolle has actually taught me, is awareness. And so before, if we would have an issue, or we would have something that we would be struggling with, usually we wouldn't really know what was going on. We would just feel bad, and things would start to spiral out of control. And it's like, the first step in all of this is awareness. Now, awareness, and other words that we can use for awareness, is noticing. When you notice you're having a feeling, when you have a realization, and then, all these sorts of concepts. I mean, awareness, realization, interested, or you're interested to know what's going on. That's where you will be able to do something about what's going on. And so as soon as you're aware that you are, if we could say, if you are having a feeling, experiencing a feeling, know that the feeling is literally what we call an alarm bell. So if you think about an alarm bell that you have at home, when the alarm wants to wake you up, it'll be loud, and it'll usually be something to wake you up out of your sleep to get your attention. Feelings are exactly the same, and I'm trying to share with everyone, if you could start to use your feelings as an alarm, and the alarm is saying, wake up, there's something you need to know. So if we could get used to acknowledging that when you have a feeling, it's your inner self, and we'll just call it our inner self, wanting to get our attention. So feelings aren't bad, and if you think about it, I'll go through quite a few different feelings that we can experience. I've got a little bit of a list here, just so you can maybe be aware of the feelings that you could actually be having. You can get sad, you can get angry, frustrated, you can have rage, anxiety, grief, stress, overwhelm, jealousy, hate, shame, doubt, fear, insecurity, worry, embarrassment, nervousness, blame, guilt, and even I've added another one to the list of negative feelings, which is labeled negative feelings, cravings, things that we have to have and things like that. I've actually noticed that they are all messages and signs from our inner self to say, wake up. It's like trying to shake you out of being asleep. It's like, wake up, there's something you need to know. So whenever you are aware of a feeling, so awareness is the first step, because a lot of the times a feeling will happen and you don't know until it gets so bad. And I don't know if you guys can recognize, but you can have a feeling and be experiencing the feeling all day, feeling bad or flat or annoyed or frustrated, but not notice until later in the day when you go, God, I've been feeling bad all day, or I've been feeling annoyed all day, or whatever. So awareness is really the first step to, I am feeling something. There is something going on within me. And if you can get an idea of this, it's like, this process is all about getting to know what's going on inside of you. So when you have a feeling happening, you can notice it. And it's really important to notice when you are having a feeling, because the feeling isn't who you are. It's an alarm bell to say, wake up, there's something you need to know. So what do you do once you are aware that you are having a feeling? Sometimes you can just sit there and go, okay, so does this feeling feel like? You can give it a name if it's sad, angry, frustrated, or whatever. But just sit with yourself, and I want you to close your eyes and then go to the place in your body where that feeling is. So when you close your eyes, and just say that you might have a feeling of anxiousness right now. Whatever feeling you have, I want you to go into your body. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to go into the place where that feeling sits. Now, some people might have a feeling up here. Some people might have a feeling in their solar plexus or their gut or whatever. But wherever it is, close your eyes and just go to in your mind. So it's almost like you take your focus from your mind into where that feeling lives. Okay. So once you've done that and you go into that place, what you can then do is, got hair on my face. What you can then do when you go into that place is, I want you to take long, deep breaths. And instead of pushing the feeling down, I want you to breathe into the feeling and allow yourself to feel it. So when you breathe into it and allow yourself, say to yourself, I allow myself to feel the sadness. I allow myself to feel that anger, the grief, or whatever. The breathing, and you breathe deep into the feeling. And as you breathe deep into the feeling, you then release the feeling through your body. And it's almost like as you breathe into that feeling, watch the feeling release into the body. Now, the reason why we release the feeling into our body is because your body is designed to process the feeling that you are having, because you're awake, right? You don't really need it to continue. So it's like you don't need the alarm to continue on, right? You want to turn the alarm off and to find out what the alarm wants to tell you. So when you're breathing deep into the feeling, watch it. You don't have to do anything. You watch it as it releases and you allow it to flow through the body. Now, as it flows through the body, your body naturally processes every single feeling you have. And what I mean by processing it, and you can watch it now, it could have, when you watch the feeling go through your body and your body process it, it could actually be different things that you experience while you're watching it going. What I imagine is happening when that happens is I'm seeing all the cells, all the muscles, all the bones, everything just, it's almost like it just processes it. It's like it allows it to absorb into the body, and the body just naturally processes it. And so as you're watching the body process the feeling, you are continuing to take long, deep breaths into the feeling. And you keep going. Now, if you've had a feeling for a long time, maybe it's anxiety or grief or whatever, and you've had it for a while, don't be surprised if you have to keep taking a nice deep breath in and then breathing deep into the feeling as you go. So take a nice deep breath and you breathe deep into the feeling and watch that feeling process. So your only job to do is to keep breathing deep into the feeling and watch it process. So keep breathing and watch it process. Keep breathing and watch it process. As you breathe into it, it helps it to release through your body. Now, you keep doing that. Just sit with yourself, and this is why we call it the 1 minute miracle, is literally as you keep breathing deep into the feeling and it releases, it'll keep releasing, it'll keep releasing. You keep breathing deep into it, it'll keep releasing into your body until all of a sudden there's nothing but peace within. And that's when you know, I call that neutrality. That's when you know you're back to who you naturally are, which we are all naturally peaceful within us. And so when you keep breathing and you keep breathing and you keep releasing, keep doing it until you feel that natural neutrality or peace that's within you. And you can sit with that for a little while, because it's actually really beautiful to be in that. And you can even breathe the peace through your body and just keep breathing into the peace and allowing yourself to be in that. You'll get to a point where you'll feel absolutely neutral. There will be no feeling. So it doesn't matter how bad that feeling was before, you will naturally get to inner peace, neutrality. You'll have nothing. Now, you may then wish to take it one step further and find out what the feeling has been trying to tell you. So you can just be in that inner peace as you sit in that, and then you ask yourself, what was that sadness trying to tell me? What was that feeling trying to tell me? And then just sit with that. You're not thinking of the answer, because we want your body to tell you, because your body was the thing that created the feeling. So, or the thought sometimes, but sit with it. And then just have a blank head, and I want you to be fully in your body when you do this. Feel really deep in your body because you're breathing into your body, so you would have dropped your focus from your head into your body. Now, it's okay if you don't get an answer, because all you need to do is just to get back to neutral, and then notice again when you're not in neutral and do the same thing again. And I do recommend that you sit with yourself regularly each day and go and check in to see how you are feeling. If you're feeling tight, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling, breathe deep into yourself and let your body process it. And then you can ask, and eventually, not maybe straight away, but maybe straight away, eventually what will happen is that once you get to neutrality and you've got that inner peace going on there, you will start to receive information from your inner self. I'll call it your inner self. It could be your soul, your spirit, inner guidance, whatever it is. You will then receive exactly what's going on. So you can sit with yourself once you've allowed your body to process it and say, okay, sadness, so what were you here to show me? What were you here to tell me? And you just sit in the nothing. Just sit in the neutrality and the peace. And you can ask, now, if nothing comes up, that's okay. You can then just say, okay, I'm not meant to know yet. Or you can just say, okay, just maybe show me as I go along, and trust that you'll be shown what you need to know or whatever. But over time, especially when you do this regularly, you'll actually receive maybe an image that pops in your head. You might receive a thought that pops into your head. You might receive another feeling. You might receive an idea. You might receive an image. Yeah, it could be anything. And this is how your inner self will communicate with you and try and tell you exactly what's going on. So over time, you will end up starting to get messages from your inner self. And what you'll find is you'll get to start to know yourself intimately and know exactly what's going on within you as you go through the process of processing and eliminating the feelings. It's turning the alarm bell off. A lot of us are all into, okay, so I want a message or a sign, or I want to know what my next steps are or whatever. Feelings are a message and sign. Like, they are one of the most important messages and signs in the whole universe that you can use. And the thing is that we have been taking them for granted. In fact, we've kind of not liked them because we haven't really know what to do with them. So I've got Peggy here on the call, or I've got Kristen and Tanya on Facebook. So if any of you guys want to be a little bit of a guinea pig today, just say that you will and do the process with me, and then just we'll see what happens, just so I can show everyone exactly how it works. But if not, that's okay. Everyone can just practice that at home. And definitely what I would love is that when you get used to this and you get confident in using it, I'd love for everyone to share with everyone else, when you have these feelings, to be able to use them, because they're a really, really big part of our journey in life. They're the biggest message and sign that we can ever receive as to our next steps. And again, when you ask yourself, okay, so what is it that I need to know from that feeling? You will be given, what you need to do. You will be told what to do. I'll just tell a quick story, and then we'll jump on the line with Peggy, and she's going to jump in and have a bit of a chat with us. I'll just explain what happened. Especially, thank you, Peggy. We'll jump in. That's awesome. And if you do want to join in with these calls and become a little bit of a guinea pig to show everyone how these things work, you can join for free, our Love for Humanity free membership, and you'll always be able to have an access to jump in live. Now, I remember when my mum died, and I had really deep grief inside of me, and I didn't think that I would be able to deal with it. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes we have the biggest fears and anxieties around dealing with feelings, and so it's really tough, like, to know, like, I'm feeling this way. I was even doing some work last night, and this is it. Like, I actually, when I was doing some work last night, some Love for Humanity work, I was looking at something that I'm, going deep within, and I notice I have a fear of disappointment, and even disappointment is a feeling. And it's like, you can see, when you actually see or have an awareness of the feeling, the first thing that happens is, oh, I don't want to feel that. And if you look at everyone's problems on the planet, they're all based, you don't have a problem until you have the feeling. The feeling is actually the problem and creates the problem. But if we can process feelings, then we don't actually have any problems, because we know how to deal with things. And once we process, and I'll tell you, once you actually get an access to this and you actually use it a lot, and you living in that inner peace within, what happens is that once you keep processing all those feelings and you're in that neutral state most of the time, you'll find that you will feel like you don't have any worries or any problems or anything, because it's the feelings that create the problem. Now look at it, each time you talk to someone who has an issue, they don't feel good, which tells them that they have an issue. And so the feelings are one of the most important parts of our evolutionary growth and of our own purpose here, our next steps. And I'll just share this story, is that I just thought to myself, I could feel this absolute deep grief for the death of my mum. And so as I remembered, it took a little while, and we have to be kind to ourselves. Sometimes it takes a while to understand or to be aware that you can do something about it, especially if you've lived 47, 48 years of not being able to deal with feelings, which most of us, have lived lives not being knowing how to deal with them. But I knew all of a sudden, after a couple of hours of being in this grief, I then knew that I could do this. I could use this process to be able to process the grief. Little did I know what would actually happen. And to be honest, I was just walking at the beach. So you can do it while you're walking, or you can do it even while you're actually in confrontation with someone. You can allow yourself to process the feeling. So as I processed and I sat with it, and I processed the grief, and I allowed the grief. And it's interesting when you allow even the worst feeling to flow through your body, instantly, as soon as you've released it and allowed it to move from where it is into your body, there is an instant relief, like straight away. It's not even a minute. It's like instant relief once you start to release the feeling and allow it to process. And so as I breathed deep into it and allow it to process, what happened was amazing. The grief actually turned into one of the deepest loves that you could ever have. And so what that said to me is, grief is actually on top of love. And if we don't allow the grief to process, we could probably miss and not actually have the experience of feeling that beautiful love that exists underneath that. And the love was so beautiful that it brought me to tears. And I'm like, wow, like, I wish I knew this sooner, because you don't know what you don't know, right? And this is exactly why I'm sharing this information, why Peggy's come on to put a hand up to talk to you, all those sorts of things, is that there's something else underneath these feelings that you can get access to. So when you have a feeling, don't think that that's it and you just have to like struggle with the feeling. Allow it to process and see what happens. Okay, Miss Peggy, I am going to unmute you, and you are ready to talk if you want to share. Maybe it doesn't want to unmute. Oh, there you go. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you? Are we allowed to see you, or you want to be, you don't want to be seen?
But I'm kind of a fright, but I'll be, it's okay, I guess. But
That's fine. That's okay. Okay. So you've done this work with me for a little while now. So share with us what you would like to practice with and process with this process, and let's see if we can show everyone how
Um,
it works.
okay, so I'll pick something. Let's see. I'll pick something about um, be, being enough in anything that we do.
Right. So it's like a feeling of not enough.
Yeah,
Right. And
when it co-
that's,
with
yeah.
when it comes to relationships.
Okay, cool. And so you've also got a reference there, which is awesome. Um, so you can see you've got the relationship, which is a focus, or relationships, we'll call it like a plural of
Mm,
relationships. And so for example, you've had an experience that's brought up a feeling. Is that right?
that's correct. Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. And sometimes that's really important to acknowledge, is that when you have a feeling, and you are aware of what the feeling's about, that's actually a really great awareness.
Yeah.
I know, I can hear your apprehension then, because it's almost like that's what everyone does. When you're aware of a feeling, you're like,
Right.
oh my God, I don't want to feel this feeling.
I know. I know.
Yes, I'm not, Peggy's going, I'm not as excited as you, Kim.
Not as excited as you, Kim. Yes.
And so this is where over time, when you have an awareness that you have a feeling, you start to get excited, because it's like the feeling's trying to tell you something, right? So whereas traditionally, how do you think you would react, or how you're reacting now? How do you, when you have a bad feeling, how do you normally react?
Well, I think it just depends on the feeling. I'm going to say that, and depends on if it's something that is kind of one of those things you've been struggling with for years or whatever.
Mm,
Um, and sometimes I think, for the most part, well, for me, I'll just say for me, for the most part, I can deal with it. But
yeah.
then there's times when it really comes to the forefront, like right now, when I realize it's like, okay, why is it that I can make a choice, but the choice is not reciprocated?
So you've got lots of things going on. And
Hmm.
if you want to jump into next week's call, also, if for anything, we're doing our thoughts. And so thoughts will be really cool. So there's a lot of thoughts that are coming up for you, which, um, next week, if you came in the call, we would actually use those thoughts. But what I'm going to do is just purely use the feeling, because you
Right.
can do one or the other. And usually you can see that there are thoughts and feelings that are happening at the same time, which is a great thing to notice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so the feeling that you have, just describe again to us all what that feeling feels like.
Well, it kind of feels like um anger. It kind of feels like stupid.
Yep,
Okay, I'm just saying. It
yep.
feels like um and then there's frustration. And then there's like, okay, why can't it be the way I want it to be? Okay, that's just me. And so so I mean, it's all of those feelings, and those are feelings because they're real.
Yeah,
They cause tears, they cause throwing of things, and swearing and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that happens when you're brought to an awareness uh that this is something you maybe thought you had figured out, but now maybe not. So you have to go deeper.
yeah. And I love that awareness, because most people, when they have something that happens again, they're like, it's happening again, and that brings another set of problems of, oh, I've got this issue that continues on. Whereas what you've just said is amazing, because you're like, well, I'm just going to go deeper, which is a great awareness. So well done.
Thank you.
Also, if there's tears, of course, possibly there's sadness in there as well. So,
Yeah.
okay. So, what I'm going to get you to do, let's follow the process, and I'm going to get you to be the little guinea pig for us to show this, show everyone how it works, so then they can use it as well. So, I'm going to get you to tell me, whereabouts in your body do you feel like this feeling is sitting?
Um, I'm going to say in my heart and maybe stomach,
Yep.
heart and
Great.
stomach.
Okay, so I'm going to get you, so that's the first step, is awareness and where it's sitting. So I'm going to get you to close your eyes for me and just relax into your chair. And I'm just going to get you to look at those feelings in, because you've got a lot going on, so in your heart and in your stomach. And I'm going to get you to take a nice deep breath. So breathe in, and then as you breathe out, I want you to see that breath going into, or pushing into, those feelings and allowing them to release. So allow yourself to feel them. So I want you to allow the feeling of those feelings as you're breathing deep into them to flow through your body. So breathe in, go into the feeling, and then take a nice deep breath out, and then watch it just flow through your body, and allow yourself to feel the anger, allow yourself to feel stupid, to feel the frustration, to feel the sadness, and just really sit in it and just like be really comfortable with it while you're watching it process in your body. So as you're taking those nice deep breaths, what's your first sense of what's happening?
Um, um, I'm not really sure. That's my thing, you know. I just am not sure why all of a sudden it would come to the forefront.
That's your thinking. So I just want you to go into the feeling and just breathe into the feeling. And just breathe into the feeling. So allow yourself to feel it and allow your body to feel it, and just keep breathing. There's nothing wrong or right about these feelings. They're just wanting to be processed. They're the alarm bell that's trying to wake you up to tell you something. So while they're here, they won't be able to tell you anything because they're the alarm. Like, you can't get clarity when the alarm's going off.
Right, right.
So sit with the feelings and breathe into them and allow them as you breathe deep into it. So take a nice deep breath, breathe into it, and then take a nice deep breath out, and then breathe in, and then breathe out. And as you're doing that, breathe deep into the feeling and allow your body to process it. Allow them to release through your body. Breathe into your heart, breathe into your stomach, and then release the feelings through your body. So what's your initial feeling when that happens?
Well, when you do the breathing like that, it feels better.
Great. So we need to acknowledge, and I want everyone to know that that's exactly what happens. Because I think most of us have been taught to push it down and move on, and it actually gets worse. The feeling gets worse. So you just keep breathing there, Peggy, and keep breathing deep into those feelings and allowing your body to process it, and watch your body process it. I want you to kind of be like the observer of it, and let those feelings show you your body processing it. Like, just watch it processing it. So if you can just keep breathing nice and deep into those feelings and allow your body to feel them, allow your body to process it. When I'm saying your body's processing it, what do you imagine? What can you see in your mind is happening when you're allowing it to process and spread through your body?
Um,
What could you imagine?
that well, that it's not all the stuff that you think it is.
Good. Okay, so keep breathing into it and watching it process through. I kind of, sometimes when I do it, I can see the cells, processing. It's almost like the energy of the feeling. It's kind of eating it all up and it's processing it. Are you getting a sense of that too? That your body is allowing this feeling to spread through it?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay, so just keep breathing deep into those feelings, and that's all you've got to do. And then just watch them just spread through your body. Keep breathing, because there's a lot of feelings there that you're processing. So you can take a couple more deep breaths. And then keep breathing deep into them, watching your body process it. How are you feeling now as you're going into those feelings and processing them?
A little bit better than I was before.
Yeah, good. Okay. Um, are you starting to feel a little bit more relaxed?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Keep breathing in. Now, if I was usually working with someone, I would get them to just keep breathing until they go to neutrality. But in this case, you just keep breathing while you're listening to me. Don't stop breathing nice, deep breaths in and allowing your body to release it and process it. Um, and as you're doing that, usually, it doesn't take that long for your body to process it, to take you to neutrality. I will usually just then let my clients, and I will just sit there in nice, peaceful quiet. I wouldn't say anything. I will just let them, and keep breathing, Peggy. I'll just sit there until they get to neutrality. So that peaceful place within. So how are you feeling within now, Peggy?
Better. Maybe almost to neutrality, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. So I just really this exercise is incredibly important to really just show people that you don't have to be stuck in your feelings, which most of us think we have to. Just keep breathing, Peggy, and and as I'm talking, you don't have to suffer with anything. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to do anything, because even suffering and struggling are just feelings. So you can just keep breathing into absolutely every feeling you have, and then allow them to process as you breathe deep into them. So for me, as someone who can see how powerful this is, when I see people struggling with their feelings, I get quite upset, because it's like, it takes a minute to start to feel better, and this is how we do it. We've got these natural abilities that are extremely powerful. So Peggy, do you think you're pretty close now to feeling okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So that's a great example of how quickly you can start to feel a bit better. Now, then what I would normally do, and what we would normally do then, in teaching these processes, is then, when you're in that peace and quiet within yourself, you can actually sit with that and ask yourself, okay, what were those feelings trying to tell me? So let's just see how you go. If you don't get anything, remember, that's also good, because you're not making up any stories or anything else, but you might get something that might help you on your next step. So I want you to go back into where those feelings lived and just sit in them. Of course, you'll be quite neutral and quite peaceful there now. And then just ask yourself, your inner self, what were you guys trying to tell me? And tell me if you get a sense of anything.
If I ask what it was trying to tell me?
Yeah, as you sit in yourself, sit in the peace and quiet that you've got to now.
Well, I got a smart aleck answer from somebody.
Yes, what was that?
Don't be so stupid. So I have to think about this. No, I have to not think about this, actually. I just have to feel.
You exactly just feel, go into the feeling. What do you need to know? What were these feelings? I'm going to ask you, and I want you just to be in your body without thinking, without going to your head. I just want you to be in your body. What were these feelings trying to tell you, Peggy? What comes through?
Maybe that I need to just look at the situation again.
Nice. Good. Okay. And again, like when you're in your body and you've allowed the feelings to process, it gives you the gift of observation that you can get a little bit of distance and clarity around what's actually happening. And you can also sit with yourself, if anyone wanted to do this, once you have that awareness, you can also sit with yourself and say, okay, so what more? And you can just get so much more information the more you sit with yourself and just be with yourself and ask yourself some more questions. So thank you, Peggy. That was awesome. How do you feel? A bit better?
Yeah. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming on as a guinea pig. And to everyone else at home, please just use this. It's the best gift we've all been given. We have all been given this gift, and touch wood, I've not seen anyone not be able to do it. And it's extremely powerful to not only process these feelings, and it's really good for health. Like when you suppress feelings and when you push them down, and they keep rearing, it actually creates a chemical imbalance in your body, because it's constantly triggering that fight or flight reaction each time you're feeling that. If you can keep going back to processing the feeling and allowing yourself to be in the feeling, and letting it process, and keep going back to the peacefulness that you have within yourself naturally as to who you are, it actually helps to rebalance those chemical reactions in your body, and that peacefulness that's in there can exist a lot longer. And what then happens, so Tanya's just said, so good, Kim, and thank you, Peggy. So thanks, Tanya, on Facebook. Just process the feelings when they come up, and it actually helps you physically from a health perspective, because your body's not in constant fight or flight, it's not in constant fear, it's not in constant anxiety. Give yourself this time. It's the gift that we all have access to, and it lives within us, that every single feeling we have can be processed. Okay, so thanks, Peggy, and thanks to everyone on Facebook for joining us. As I said, Love for Humanity is a movement that is happening on the planet right now, where together we are all working together to be able to create a planet and a society and humanity that loves each other, lives in peace and harmony, understands, is compassionate, but it all starts with us. And as you can see, you know, when we are feeling good within ourselves, then when we are allowing ourselves to be in the feeling and to process it and to get more information, we no longer are lost. We're no longer stuck. Even stuck is a feeling. You can feel into the stuck and it will process. And so what happens is that we deal with other people and situations quite differently. And this is what the focus for, and the mission is for Love for Humanity, is that everyone has access to these amazing gifts within us. And then when we are in complete control of ourselves, and that we actually have all we need within ourselves, then we behave a little bit differently in the world. And I want to spread that shit around. I'm telling you that now. It's like we can all have a little bit more peace within ourselves, a little bit more love and compassion for ourselves and everyone else. And this feeling concept, you know, the 1 minute miracle is one of the very first steps that we learn in Love for Humanity, that we have access to be able to make a difference in the world. You will start to be treating people, even though they may be yelling at you, even though they may be frustrated, even though they may be annoyed, call you something or whatever. You're okay with it because you don't have those feelings going on. And if you do, you allow them to process and you find out more about yourself. And so we don't direct blame or guilt or anger at anyone. And also, if someone's yelling at you, get them to process the feeling they're feeling, get them to process the sadness, the grief, the anger, the frustration, because everyone has access to this, right? And this is what Love for Humanity is all about, is experiencing all these amazing gifts we have access to, being able to be in control and empowered within ourselves, and then to share our gifts, to share these natural gifts with everyone else, and then they share with other people, and then they share with other people, and eventually the planet will be in a place where we are in control of our lives, and that we are in the driver's seat through all these gifts that we receive through Love for Humanity. So you can join for free. I'll pop the link below, and you can join these calls for free. You can get access to this information that we send you. And there's also an awesome website coming up, which everyone gets access to free resources, just so the planet can start to heal through our own healings. And then, of course, we've got our protege groups, which is where you can actually do this work with me in groups. And then you also have the professional groups, which is where you can also run your own business, teaching people this and your own gifts that have come through in your own life as well. Everyone is gifted. Everyone has their own purpose and mission for being here. And if you need some help with that, Love for Humanity is here to help everyone do that and for us all to work together. Thank you, Peggy, for being here and joining us. And thank you, everyone on Facebook. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.